Good morning and welcome to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman. And I'm so excited you're with us today. We're here to empower you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones to be healthy and well naturally. And the one thing that I absolutely love about health is that you were made to be well. You were made to function at a high level of health and vitality so that you can be the best you ever. And today we're going to be talking to one of the most amazing chiropractors in the world. His name is Dr. Doug Miller. And I've got to tell you, I've known Dr. Doug for quite a long time now, and he is absolutely amazing. He not only has totally changed the way his health functions, how his body works, but he's also the Baltimore Ravens chiropractor. That's right, the Baltimore Ravens chiropractor. And I've got to tell you, he is the guy that's on the sidelines with those players. He's also helped with making sure that they function at a high level of health and vitality, and the Ravens have gone to the Super Bowl, as many Ravens football fans know. And I've got to tell you, for many of you, you may know and realize that in order to be an athlete, you have to function at such a high level of not only health and vitality, but you have to be efficient. You've got to be able to be the best you ever, to go out there and play with the best. And today we're going to be not only talking to Dr. Doug, but we're going to be delving into what is health. How can you make sure that you're being adjusted, that you're feeding your body well, that you're moving your body well, so that you can have the most optimal health ever. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I can't wait for you to not only meet the Baltimore Ravens chiropractor, Dr. Doug Miller, but learn amazing and invaluable techniques so that you can be the healthiest you ever.
Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center located at 2310 Churchville Road, Suite C in Bel Air, is enhancing lives through the power of a chiropractic adjustment. As a licensed chiropractor in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Dr. Evan Christman can correct damage from years of lifestyle stresses while educating you to maintain good health for your lifetime. A dedicated professional with a very special focus on children with learning differences and autism, Dr. Christman treats people of all ages: newborn babies, children, pregnant women, families, seniors, and professional golfers. Isn't it time for you to reclaim your life? Take your first step toward health and vitality today. Call Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center, at 410-734-4060 and let their experienced staff show you how to restore the flow of life. 410-734-4060 or check them out at restorelifeflow.com.
Good morning and welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman, and I'm so excited you're with us today. We're here to not only empower you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones to be healthy and well naturally, but today we're talking to the Baltimore Ravens chiropractor, Dr. Doug Miller. Dr. Doug, welcome to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, and I'm so excited you're with us today. And Dr. Doug, tell me, how did you end up down this path of being the chiropractor to the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, first of all, that was quite the introduction, so I have to say thank you, Michelle.
You are welcome.
How did I end up down this path as the Baltimore Ravens chiropractor? That's quite a story. Well, I've been in practice for 22 years, I believe, so shortly after I was in practice, we had a professional hockey team in Baltimore, maybe 18, 20 years ago, called the Baltimore Skipjacks, or the Baltimore Band. I think they turned into the Baltimore Bandits shortly thereafter. And if you follow the sport of hockey, the National Hockey League has a minor league that an injured player would return to rehabilitate their injury. And that was the purpose of this team in Baltimore. So really just by proximity, these hockey players who happened to be injured would just start to become patients in my office. And then probably after about 6 months had gone by, one day the trainer called and said, all these players who are coming to your office seem to be returning to play much sooner. What are you doing? So that we struck up a conversation, and that kind of led to he at that point invited me down to become more involved with the team. And what we began to see was that, and of course I think we all are aware that the body's alignment has a lot to do with the body's ability to function and heal. So when these players were receiving chiropractic adjustments, they were returning to play much sooner. And, of course, their performance was also improving as well. So that really began my career, working with athletes. I've always been a very athletic individual and have worked around sports. And then shortly thereafter, a year or two had gone by, and the Ravens had they relocated here. I think we're all aware of that. So at that point, I was working with some of the sports medicine doctors who were also being hired by the Ravens at that time. So through associations, that's kind of how I became the chiropractor with the team.
And I've got to tell you, it's amazing. So many people don't realize how powerful it is to not only begin to educate and empower our community, but you clearly started down one path that you were passionate about, and that is empowering people to be healthy and well now. And you took it to another level. You took it to a level where you empowered sports players. And I've got to tell you, there's such a huge misconception in chiropractic. Many people believe that chiropractic is about back and neck pain. So many people won't even walk through our doors because they simply don't even realize that they can function at such a more efficient level. But I've got to tell you, the best athletic individuals out there in the world right now have their very own wellness chiropractors. And you've got to begin to see that when your body functions at a more efficient level, which clearly the Ravens understand this, they've got Dr. Doug Miller on their team, then they win and they show up and they become the best ever and they go to the Super Bowl. Now, I know because I'm one of your friends, you got to go to the Super Bowl, Dr. Doug. Tell me, what was it like to be the Ravens chiropractor during that amazing time frame in our history?
Well, I got to go there twice.
That's awesome.
It was quite the honor, and it still is quite the honor. If you're, I think you mentioned I do this because I have a passion for this. So if you have a passion for working with athletes, you certainly want to reach the top of your sport. And, in the NFL, that is the top of the sport. So going to that game twice has, it's just an amazing experience to see all the hard work and all the players' hard work pay off and win a championship twice is extremely exciting, and it's quite rewarding to be a member of that team.
And what's the most important thing? When you look at these athletes, they are in such amazing shape, but many people get confused. I almost liken it to the proverbial Uncle Joe. We haven't seen Uncle Joe in years. We show up at a family Christmas party, and you look at Uncle Joe and you say, hey man, God, you look great. What have you been doing? He says, I've been watching my food. I've been exercising. I feel better than when I was 18 years old. And you hear 2 weeks down the road through the grapevine, what happened to Uncle Joe? Uncle Joe died of a massive heart attack. Talk to me about, these athletes have the best that they can have on hand. Yet, how do you really know that they are well? How do you really know they're functioning at a high level of health and vitality, Dr. Doug?
Well, let's keep in mind that these athletes are very in tune to what it takes to stay healthy. So they're very concerned with their food. Their food is their fuel for their body. So these athletes have impeccable diets. They have impeccable training regimens that prepare their body for their sport, to stay healthy, to stay active. They have resources that the average person may not have, but that's their career, that's their lifestyle. So they reinvest in themselves. That's one thing that we have to really be aware of, is that we as individuals really have to think about being more proactive about our health, because you never really know, just like you mentioned there, if we could have a fatal heart attack tomorrow. But if you're living these healthy lifestyles, if you're engaging in proper nutrition and proper exercise, and you're keeping your body in proper alignment, those are lifestyle habits that equate to longevity. So I guess you never really know, but you have to be much more proactive about your health.
I think that's so important, and I bring that up because many people are going along the path of how they feel. And as we know, symptoms are such a poor indication of your health. And the athletes, they are investing in their health. And I ask you, as everyday individuals like myself, invest in your health. When you begin to show up and consistently get adjusted, you live your life through your central nervous system. It was the first organ created when you were conceived. So you have to ask yourself, how important is that to your health? It's vital. That's what's allowing your organs, tissues, and cells to function, sending signals to the brain, to the body, and back again so that you get to be well.
Sure.
And food. I mean, gosh, let's talk about this. What's important for these people to eat? Do they do vegetable shakes and smoothies? Do they invest in foods that most people don't buy? I mean,
well, of course they do, and I think you hit it on the head there. Consuming a non-processed food diet is really the direction that we have to move in. There are so many harmful agents that we find in processed food. So, shifting your diet from a processed food to a more organic food is the first step that we have to take. And of course, again, professional athletes have the time, they have the resources to either structure their diet like this or have someone structure their diet for them like this. But we really have to start shifting our diets away from the processed food industry and more into the organic food industry.
And if you go to the grocery store, literally over 65% of the foods on those grocery store shelves are genetically modified, which means it's not real food at all.
Correct.
You have to begin to ask yourself, what are you feeding yourselves? What are you feeding your family? And invest in your health. It's so important. So, Dr. Doug, tell me, what happens on those sidelines, or what happens even before they get on there? Where do you come in place?
Well, before they ever enter the field, many players are receiving a chiropractic evaluation. They're receiving a chiropractic adjustment because they realize that even minor distortions in the body's alignment has the ability to affect their performance. So, we often liken the body in alignment to affecting the muscles, and muscles are like levers. So if even minor distortions in the body's alignment can tighten one lever, and one lever could affect the mobility of a joint elsewhere. And then if that scenario continues to happen, these athletes who rely on sudden motions and agility, they're much more likely to injure a muscle or to pull a muscle or to injure a joint. So they realize that if their body's properly aligned, they're less likely to have an injury. They're more likely to perform better. So, prior to a game, 90% of my work is just going through adjustments with these players. Now, in this particular sport, which involves a lot of trauma, there certainly is trauma, so we have to deal with the injuries throughout the week as well.
And so I've got to tell you, I think it's absolutely amazing. And many people, you've got to begin to really understand this analogy. The stresses from your lifetime, there are 3 types: physical, chemical, and emotional. And those stresses create interference in your nerve system, which was that main system we live our life through. That creates a muscle imbalance, and your vertebrae slowly start to move over your lifetime, which slows down and stops the signal of those organs and the signal up to the brain, to the body, and back again. So what I absolutely love about health is that we were made to be well. And in today's world, we're coming upon more stresses in the body's ability to adapt. And that's why it's vital that people show up in their chiropractor's office. The Ravens are so fortunate to have Dr. Doug. He is one of the best chiropractors in the world, along with my husband, who I love, Dr. Christman. And I've got to tell you, it's an honor to be a part of this profession. It's an honor to begin to see how people's health and bodies begin to wake up and great things begin to occur.
I think you hit it on the head there. We have so much overwhelming daily stress, and most people function in this defensive environment where their bodies are so stressed and so taxed that just depletes their health over time, and most people don't even acknowledge that. So as I mentioned, it's not just the structural issues which can be caused from minor traumas or major traumas. It's the daily stress that people accumulate year after year that really taxes their health and well-being. And as you know, your husband and I play play a huge role in removing the negative impacts of that stress on their health and well-being.
Isn't that the truth? It's like we're constantly being chased by that saber-toothed tiger. And I've got to ask you this. You know, there has to be somebody that you've adjusted over your time, some amazing life-changing story that has occurred. What is it for you that's in connection with chiropractic?
Well, there's actually many, but the story has a common theme. So, working with athletes, they're interested in returning to play and not missing performance. So many athletes come in with other health histories that they may not think chiropractic can affect. So it's very satisfying that when you take a player through care, when they're going through adjustments, and they begin to tell you just how other health challenges they may have been having have been improving as a result of being under chiropractic care. Not just the fact that their mobility is increasing or they're having less soreness or aches and pains, but they have more energy. They have improved sleep pattern. Their digestive distress is improving. All these organic conditions are affected by the work that we do as chiropractors, because again, you know that the work that we do impacts their nervous system, which coordinates all other aspects of their health and well-being. So it's always satisfying to help a player return to action or overcome this injury or that injury. But it's also very satisfying just to understand and see and experience and witness how that care impacts their overall health and well-being.
Isn't that fabulous? And there's a story that comes to mind that happened over the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to be having this father and son on our show sometime soon. We had a young gentleman come into our practice, and I'm allowed to tell the story because he's given me permission, but he simply came in because of problems with his knees and his lower back. And he started to see my husband, and through being adjusted, those knee problems and back problems, of course, went away. He then comes and shows up at our workshops, which we have weekly, and he becomes even more educated about the body and chiropractic. And he starts to bring his son, who has Asperger's, had Asperger's for 7 years. And they came into our practice a few weeks ago and said, "You'll never believe what happened." And of course, knowing me, I tried to figure it out. And he said, "No, really, you're not going to be able to figure this one out." He said, "I just took my son to Kennedy Krieger for, his every 6-month visit. And he told me that my son no longer has Asperger's. He told me to take that my child doesn't have to take these dangerous medications anymore. He's off of all of his meds. He doesn't have Asperger's anymore because he's been getting adjusted, because he's changed his lifestyle, all because he showed up in our practice."
Isn't that amazing?
That, I've got to tell you, many people don't realize those implications of how vital it is for their nerve system to function at an efficient level. And thank God the Baltimore Ravens have you on their team and on their side so that they can be well. So, Dr. Doug, what's that final message? I know you're such a busy chiropractor. And, you're an absolutely amazing family man, have a beautiful wife, beautiful children. Tell me, what's that final message? Why should people show up in a chiropractor's office?
People should show up in a chiropractic office to really optimize their health. Why wait until you lose your health and look back and say, if I had only done something different that most people know intuitively they should be doing now. They know they should be eating healthier. They know they should be exercising. They know they should be engaging in these lifestyle habits that promote their well-being and improve their longevity. So that's what I wish is that this light bulb goes off now, that people take responsibility for their health now, not after the fact. So it's people like you and I that stand on this platform and preach these tenets to motivate and inspire others to take action for their health and not wait until it's too late, where they have to rely on procedures which are harmful and dangerous, and medications which have side effects. But if they're engaging in these lifestyle habits now, they're very less likely to have to engage in those types of services in the future. Isn't
that the truth? And Dr. Doug, how can they reach you?
Well, you can reach us by friending us at Aligning Wellness on Facebook. So if anyone would like to friend us on Facebook, we can certainly learn more about our services and practice. That would be the easiest way.
So that's Aligning Wellness and the Baltimore Ravens chiropractor, Dr. Doug Miller. Dr. Doug, thank you so much. I'm grateful and thankful for you to be in our live, to be in our friends. You are welcome.
I'm off to a soccer game soon, and then I'm off to catch a flight with the Ravens.
Awesome. Have fun. Make sure.
All on the same day. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. Love to come back and talk with you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Dr. Doug. I'll give you a big hug through the air, so we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
And we're going to take a quick commercial break. I can't wait for you to not only begin to learn and see how it's so important to invest in your health, but also begin to see why you are vitally important.
Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center located at 2310 Churchville Road, Suite C in Bel Air, is enhancing lives through the power of a chiropractic adjustment. As a licensed chiropractor in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Dr. Evan Christman can correct damage from years of lifestyle stresses while educating you to maintain good health for your lifetime. A dedicated professional with a very special focus on children with learning differences and autism, Dr. Christman treats people of all ages, newborn babies, children, pregnant women, families, seniors, and professional golfers. Isn't it time for you to reclaim your life? Take your first step toward health and vitality today. Call Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center at 410-734-4060 and let their experienced staff show you how to restore the flow of life. 410-734-4060 or check them out at restorelifeflow.com.
Good morning and welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman, and I'm so excited you guys are with us today. We're here to empower you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones to be healthy and well naturally. And the one thing that I love about health is that you were made to be well. You were made to function at a high level of health and vitality so that you can be the best you ever. And in today's world, we're coming upon more stresses in the body's ability to adapt. And there are three different types. There's physical, chemical, and emotional. Physical stresses are things such as how many hours do you sit behind a desk? How long do you stand? How many things are you picking up or putting down? And I ask you to think about this. What happens when you fall? You know, as a child, how many times are you standing up and falling and standing up and falling in order to learn to walk? And do those imprints in your nerve system follow you throughout your whole adulthood? What about the birth process? I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to having my my soon-to-be nephew soon. He is due any day. My brother and sister-in-law are having a little one. But that birth process can be one of the most traumatic experiences to your life. In a normal birth, in a medical setting, there's between 40 to 60 pounds of uncontrolled pressure put on that child's head and neck. In a C-section, there's 90 pounds of uncontrolled pressure. I ask you to begin to think about this. Were you checked by a chiropractor as soon as you were born? Well, I've got to tell you, I wasn't fortunate enough. Neither was my husband. But my baby is. My baby was checked literally within the first 3 hours of being born. Why is that? Because I want her to function at a high level of health and vitality. I want that main system that she lives her life through, which is her central nervous system, to be the best ever, to function at an optimal level of health and vitality, so that all her organs, tissues, and cells can do what they need to do so that she can be well. And I've got to tell you, I'm grateful and thankful. I have a beautiful, happy, healthy baby girl. My hope is that my little nephew will be checked by a wellness chiropractor as well. And the other thing I want you to begin to think about are chemical stresses. What are you feeding your body? Is it whole foods? Meaning, are you feeding yourself real foods? Are they chemical free? Meats, veggies, or fruits? And I want you to begin to think about this. Are you doing vegetable smoothies? Are you taking very fresh, chemical-free vegetables and fruits? And are you learning how to make very healthy drinks for yourself in the morning? Start off your day with live foods. You know, also think about this. What are you buying in the grocery store? Literally, over 60 to 65% of the foods on the grocery store shelves are genetically modified, which means it's not real food at all. So what are you putting in your body? Are you investing in things in your health and in your children's health that allow you to be the best you ever, or are you slowly dying inside? What about medications? These are man-made chemicals, and the research shows us that when you take 3 or more of these medications at one time, that there's no researcher that can tell you mathematically the side effects that they will have on your body. You know, have you allowed your body to get to that point that that's what you're relying upon? The other thing I want you to think about is the environment we're living in. You know, how do you clean your home? You know, they're saying that our homes are 100% more toxic than the outside environments. So you have to begin to ask yourself, you know, what cleaning solutions are you using? And we're going to be having some amazing people on here that are going to teach us how to do things naturally in cleaning our home. And the very last stress are emotional stresses. And I've got to tell you, they're in everybody's lives. Many people will tell me, but you know, Michelle, I have a perfect life. I don't have much stress. Well, then we've got to begin to ask, are you alive? Because the reality is your body needs good and some bad stresses in order for you to begin to move forward. And some of those bad stresses can be financial stresses. Do you have enough money to do the things that you'd love to do? Or are you barely getting by? Another stress can be relationship stresses. Do you have people that pour good things into your life? You know, I've got to tell you, I had the most fabulous grandma, but my grandmother had Alzheimer's for 7 years and lived in our home. And I watched my grandma slowly deteriorate and pass away in front of my eyes. You know, are there people in your life, loved ones, that you have to take care of on a consistent basis? You know, that's a huge emotional stress. Many people don't realize how that greatly and negatively affects their central nervous system and how they're living their health and their life. And what about the upsets and the disappointments that come on? You know, it's part of life. It's part of being a human being. But at the end of the day, these physical, chemical, and emotional stresses, they create, over time, nerve system interference, which, as I said earlier, creates muscle imbalance and slowly moves those vertebrae out of alignment. And it's like communication on your cell phone. If you can hear that beautiful message, then you can hear what I'm saying. But if you can't hear that message, and over time that message slows down and it stops, and if that's what's occurring to every single organ, tissue, and cell in your body, what do you think's occurring to your health? What do you think's happening to your children's health? What do you think's happening to your health? You know, isn't it time that you show up in a chiropractor's office? Now, I've got friends all over the world that are the best chiropractors in the world, and I can connect you with all of them, or I can connect you with one of them. Now, I have friends in Hawaii, I have friends in California, I have friends in Minnesota, I have friends in Utah, I have friends in Pennsylvania. I've got an amazing husband 10 minutes down the road in Bel Air, Maryland. But I ask you to invest in your health. Show up and be the best you ever. Invest in not only being adjusted by a chiropractor. See, an adjustment is an art. It's a science. And at the end of the day, it's a philosophy of life. See, we live a chiropractic lifestyle, meaning that we watch our foods, that we eat vegetables, chemical-free, meats, veggies, and fruits. We get adjusted. We move our bodies. We do all that we can to be the best us ever so that we can empower you to do the same. And I've got to tell you, I'm not perfect. I love brownies. I love chocolate chip cookies. Like most people have something they love. But at the end of the day, I've got to begin to show up and invest in myself. I've got to begin to see that I am important, that I'm vital so that I can take care of other people within my community and within the world. And I ask you to do the same. And I've got to tell you, it's such an honor to not only be a part of your life, but begin to bring these amazing chiropractors throughout the world. We're interviewing every Saturday live the best chiropractors, the best doctors of wellness that we can get our hands on so that you can be the best you ever. And I ask you to not only invest in yourself, but begin to learn what real health is. And you're listening live every Saturday to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman, which you can hear me on WAMD 970 AM, WYRE 810, WKHZ 1460, WJSS 1330, and you can watch me live on www.khztv.com. That's khztv.com. Take great care of your health and invest in yourself.